Two Terry Funk matches, the return of Bertha Faye. We got a lot of talking, a lot of Russo, and a 2-minute ambulance match, the most Russo-rific episode of WCW programming so far. Well, I'm John Retlin with a retro review of WCW Thunder from May 10th, 2000. It was shit. It was absolute goddamn shit. I had seen this before, but not in many, many years, and decided, well, hell, I've gotten this far into WCW programming for 2000. Why not just retro review every single goddamn thing that I can, especially what's on the network? Nitro, Thunder, the pay-per-views. Because I want my brain to leak out of my goddamn skull by the time Bash at the Beach comes around. You may also notice that these episodes aren't going up exactly on the 20-year anniversary that they aired. That is mainly down to the fact that I have a bunch of videos for you guys, so these are just going to go up close to the date. Maybe not on the exact date, but I hope you enjoy them regardless. So anyway, Shivani, Tenay, and Heenan on commentary. First match, Chris Candido with Tammy the Tramp. I wish Candido was still around. He had a lot to give to wrestling. He probably wouldn't have been wrestling by now because I think he would have been about 50 or he would have been in his 50s. And he had a lot more to give, and it's a shame how his career and his life unfortunately came to a very tragic end when he was only in his mid-30s. So he's still the Cruiserweight Champion, took on Crowbar with Daphne. The match was actually okay in comparison to everything else on this goddamn show. There was a chair to the face at one point because, of course, there was relaxed DQ rules except for a couple matches later. We then get a dive onto the chair. We get Daphne getting involved after the blonde bombshell power bomb off the top. She hits a hurricanrana, and then we get a cat fight. I'm not going to try to do it like Joey Styles. Or like when Madden butchers the whole thing that Joey Styles does. Thankfully, Heenan is here doing commentary, though he wouldn't be around much longer. Diving headbutt eventually for 3. Okay, there we go. So Candido retains. The sad thing is, this is probably the most coherent match that they had all night. That's saying something because this is maybe 5 minutes. Terry Funk is talking to Bischoff. Bischoff says, "Name your price. I'll take the Hardcore Championship from you." And Terry Funk's like, "Nah, I want to fight for it. You want to take it, you can pry from my cold dead fingers. Your offer is acceptable." And then Vincent D'Onofrio gets pulled down and his skin gets put on an alien. And wait, that's the plot of Men in Black. I confuse these things, despite the fact that Men in Black was out 3 years before this. Well, at least it didn't remind me of Men in Black 2. Thanks, WCW 2000, you just reminded me of Men in Black 2. So, we get Goldberg's monster truck appearing outside the arena. Not getting stuck on a car this time like at the end of Nitro. We get Russo, David, and Crowbar, and Daphne goes and plays in traffic. No, not literally like getting hit. She's just playing around a whole bunch. This is weird footage in New York, and they're playing around. And Russo, David, and Crowbar go to an adult film theater. Whatever. David said he had never seen a naked woman. He had also apparently never seen a promo class. Terry Funk versus Stevie Ray and Big T and Cash. So all of the remnants of Harlem Heat. Well, you have Stevie Ray, the second best member of Harlem Heat. Actually, him and Booker are 1 and 1A because really, without one or the other, Harlem Heat would have not worked at all. You had Big T and Cash, or I think that was his name. Fuck, I don't remember. He was some big guy that wasn't really all that good. Well, they tried to take the hardcore title from him, and then Big T got upset because Stevie Ray had slapjacked him on Nitro just a couple days before. So he waited for Terry Funk to move and hit Stevie Ray with a trash can lid. They fought to the back. Cash got hit with a chair, pretty violent chair shot, and Terry Funk pins him. So he wins the 1-on-3 match and retains the Hardcore Championship, pushing those new talents. I get what they were trying to do with Terry Funk. He was supposed to be like the last outlaw, not with the Millionaires Club or the New Blood. Definitely not with the New Blood. Or with the Filthy Animals or Misfit in Action or whatever. He was just on his own. Sometimes that lone stuff can work. The problem is WCW didn't know how to book any of this shit. So, it was bad. We get a Vampiro interview with Mike Tenay. He says, "I'm never in character. This is just who I am." Talks about, going through some rough times in life, wearing face paint, all that stuff and everything. And then he runs down Tenay, runs down Sting, has a cage just suddenly appeared, has Sting's crow on his arm. Thankfully, taking as good a care of it as he could, which is good because that crow looked really stressed out and annoyed and was probably going to go all Alfred Hitchcock Birds on everybody. But then he mentions Ozzy biting the head off of a dove and spitting it in the lap of somebody at a record store or something like that. I kind of tuned this out because Vampiro, much as I like him, could not save a really bad show. And then Sting suddenly attacks Vampiro. Where did the crow go? Where did it go? Because it wasn't in the cage, because Sting hit Vampiro with the cage. It was not a very good cut, because where did the crow go? Did it go into, did it just fly up somewhere? Did the bird handler come get it? Did Mean Gene decide to take it home with him? These are the questions that we need to answer. I would have loved to have seen a sitcom with Mean Gene and the crow, because let's be honest, it would have gone better than most of the interviews they were having Mean Gene doing at this point. I love Mean Gene, but my God, the stuff they were having him do. We then get Stasiak versus Lash LaRue, aka now Corporal Cajun. Because Lash LaRue wasn't getting over, so Corporal Cajun will have to work. Cajun, easy for me to say. Henning joins commentary. And then after a Henningplex, a couple minutes in, the Misfits in action run in, and then Henning jumps over the guardrail and is doing this and everything, and Stasiak leaves. By the way, the first match is probably the longest match on this show. The first match was... No, wait, I take that back. The 6th match was the longest one. Or the 5th match. I kind of lost what was actually the official match count. I think it was 6. Maybe it was 8. I don't really care. Russo then says, well, you know, Liz, you can't win. I will beat you. No, Russo, that was what Lex did. All you did, Russo, was beat the ratings down into the goddamn ground. And she will face Ronda Singh tonight. If she wins, the contract gets torn up. And we get more antics in New York. We get Ronda Singh, a.k.a. the former Bertha Faye. If you're unfamiliar with Bertha Faye, check out her stuff in WWE. Maybe you shouldn't. Check out... She didn't last very long. And she sadly is no longer with us. She did die at the age of 40. She did have weight issues. Was doing some stuff like being a caregiver for disabled people after leaving wrestling. Or taking a break from wrestling. But did die tragically at the age of 40. But she faced Liz, and this match went maybe a minute. Luger then runs in, confronts Ronda, and racks her. Cool! We then get Palumbo hitting Liz with a bat in the back. Instead of hitting Lex, waiting for Lex to turn around and do this stuff, nope, we can't do that. Liz had to get hit, because we had to abuse Liz, apparently. Then, he takes Liz backstage to Russo. Russo, David, and Daphne are out there. It wasn't any good because I like Daphne, but the character wasn't really given much of a chance to do anything. David couldn't cut promos. Russo then says, I broke Ric Flair. He left, but I'm not going to let him get off that easy. And talks about Rick as a father and David, where were you? All this, where were you for my prom? Well, he's not Jerry Lawler. He wasn't going to show up at your prom and hit up, 17-year-olds. He'll hit up women that are 18 maybe, but anyway, I digress. Told the fans to shut up multiple goddamn times. And then Russo calls out Arn, and then Arn... says he's a groupie with power, talking about Russo, and mentions David, talks about history, goes over what Rick did to help David and the kids. And yeah, he wasn't there, but he did love his family and still does love his family. And then Russo yells at Arn and says, hey, you got another match in you. How about you face David Flair tonight? This is the man that has been retired for basically 3 years by this point. Or just under 3 years. We get Bischoff wanting Funk gone. He wants the title gone. He says, okay, you got one more match. It's Palumbo versus Funk. We get Chuck Palumbo out there after having just been out there about 20 minutes before, maybe 15 minutes before, and Terry Funk. It's a hardcore match. We get chairs to the head and the back, and then table spots, and then we go into the crowd, we go backstage, we go outside towards a dumpster. Lex attacks Chuck Palumbo. Funk pins him in a dumpster, and then Lex attacks Chuck Palumbo more, gets maced, dragged off. This is Russo-rific stuff. And not even good, not even entertaining Russo-rific stuff. It was like, it made no sense. Smiley and Ralphus, Norman Smiley and Ralphus are out there. Smiley's got a tin can with him begging for money. And Ralphus has a will wrestle for food sign because they got fired after failing to beat Terry Funk on Nitro. Bischoff then says Horace will be fired if Hulk steps in the ring. For this match, it is Horace versus Kidman, ref bump, and everything, all the shenanigans go, into the goddamn ring, into a blender. It is absolutely ridiculous. Bischoff just saying, oh no, all of a sudden, wait a second, no, ref, you can't DQ him. It's a no DQ match. It's this, and this, and then Horace keeps gaining the advantage. Wait, handicap match. All the filthy animals run in there, including Ray, a blonde Ray that looked like Ernest the Cat Miller. Why would you want to look like Ernest the fucking Cat Miller? The fucking Cat Miller. Hopefully not. The filthy animals are in, and then Horace pins Kidman. Oh, wait, it's a Texas death match. He's got till 10 count to get back up. This was so fucking bad. I mean, and granted, Bischoff is a great on-screen character, but this was goddamn dog shit. Bischoff then says, after he gets, or After he's shown a lot of heart, Horace can join the New Blood. He spits at Bischoff, and then we get a dog pile pin. So Horace gets fired, basically. Fired. Actually, I don't know if Horace is still around after this. Maybe his contract was up. Then here's Hulk, who could not show up in the ring. He demolishes everybody, chases after Bischoff. Nash comes in, and then Russo shows up. And then berates him, says, remember Vinny Vegas, bro, or Nash? And then remember Oz, Nash, and then he took credit for Big Daddy Cool. Which is funny, because the Diesel character and a lot of stuff came up well before Russo was ever brought in as a writer. So, of course, Russo's taking credit for something that got over. We then get the New Blood that falls down, the viscous red liquid, the mysterious red liquid that they call it, because they can't mention blood, even though they can say New Blood. It completely misses Nash. It barely gets on him. He has to step kind of to get into the shot so some of it falls on him. He was supposed to be drenched, and he barely got any on him. Because somebody mistimed all that shit. Maybe they were running a little, trolley up there or whatever, and it was supposed to dump out, and maybe it's like Mr. Rogers' train or whatever, and it stopped too short and dumped the blood out. Whew. This is shit that actually happened, guys. This was shit that actually happened. We then get Nash and Hogan backstage beating the tar out of some windows. Weird place to put tar. And this white limousine gets away that had Bischoff and Russo in it. I'm getting closer to Bash at the Beach 2000 when everything really kind of comes to a head. And then finally just, and then a couple months after that, Russo wins the championship. Because that was a great idea. So we get Arn versus David Flair. Why? Why was this happening? Why would you put Arn, who couldn't even really take any bumps because of his, botched neck surgery and the nerve damage he had, why would you put him in a match? Oh, wait, you have Crowbar in there. Crowbar gets a spine buster. Daphne hits a low blow, and we get the Statue of Liberty, the small shattered Statue of Liberty, or, shattering Statue of Liberty, Statue of Shattery, if you will, hitting Arn's head, and they mug him, and a figure four, and I guess he's declared the winner, David is. Cool, whatever. More New York antics. Awesome. Rick Steiner calls out Goldberg, and then Abbott once again mocking Goldberg. They're trying to build this storyline and make it interesting between Tank Abbott and Bill Goldberg. The problem is they couldn't pay it off, because Abbott wasn't all that good in the ring, as legit as he was, and Goldberg was never that good in the ring. And when Goldberg has to be the expert in the ring, you are fucked. So, he mentions Scott, Rick Steiner does, mentions how Scott screwed him over at one point, and this is payback, so we're even. And then Chronic comes out to fight them, and then Douglas Bagwell get in, and they steal the tag titles back. Then Scott Steiner's fighting off security, and then we get, while Rick and Tank are, at the entranceway, Goldberg's monster truck runs over the car. These are all things that are just happening willy-nilly. And then, David in this footage, more footage from New York, David proposes to Daphne. This would not be the only proposal David would have in his career. Remember the Miss Hancock thing and the pregnancy and all that. And oh God, I still have to talk about the DNA match between David Flair and Bagwell at some point. Oh dear. So, Mike Awesome versus Sting. An ambulance match, 2 minutes. They battle. Awesome through a table to the stage, to the ambulance. Scorpion death drop on the roof. And then Vampiro appears out of the door, sprays him in the face with blood. Mace blood, I guess. And then throws him in the ambulance. And Awesome's still on the roof. So Awesome wins, but they play Sting's music and then smash cut to credits. This is one of the worst episodes of wrestling television I've seen in a long time. And I forgot how bad this was. So thank you, WWE. Thank you for putting this on your network. And thank you for letting fans like me endure some of the worst wrestling there is. Because there are great things about WCW, but 2000 had none of them. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.